Good morning and happy Money Making Monday. CJ Curry here talking some more NBA player props on PrizePicks. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, get subscribed. We're on our way to 29,000 subscribers. I appreciate all 28,000 plus people who have already subscribed to the channel. Those who continue to show up and support the channel by slapping that like button. Much thanks to you. Let's set today's like goal at a modest 99.5 likes. I'm taking the over on that number, meaning I need 100 or more thumbs up from you guys out there. And when you hit that like button, it helps spread the word, spread the video to more people, get more people, more eyeballs onto the channel. So I appreciate all that. All right, let's slide over to PrizePicks. PrizePicks is still running their promotion of if you play your first $5, they're going to give you $50 back. To take advantage of this offer, use promo code CJ Curry. I've left links to everything that we talk about in today's video down in the description, so you can go click those, make your life a whole lot easier. One thing that PrizePicks is doing right now that they've added to the PrizePicks board since the last time you and I spoke is they're running a Will Howard free square promotion. So just another reason why you should be playing on PrizePicks if you're not already. This expires in just over 7 days. You got plenty of time to use this. No rush. Doesn't have to be used today or anything. It could be used in the next week or so. But if Will Howard has at least one passing yard or more, then this is a winning pick, meaning you only have to pair it up with one other pick, but you could also swing for the fences and go for 25 times your money or more by combining it with 2, 3, 4, or 5 more picks. Totally up to you how you want to play it, but definitely want to take advantage of this. Usually the maximum amount you could put on something like this is about $25 to $30 from what I've heard from other people in the past. But without further ado, let's get into today's NBA picks. I'm starting off with this one. It's going to be an NBA first half only pick, and we're looking at a big guy from the Washington Wizards, Jonas Valanciunas. He's sitting out here at 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves today. Now, the reason that I like to play NBA first half only props is because some of these games, like this one, have huge implied spreads, meaning they expect the Minnesota Timberwolves to beat the brakes off of the Washington Wizards. Minnesota's favored by about 13.5 points, which is not good if you're a veteran player like Valanciunas, because those blowout situations could sometimes lead to you playing fewer minutes. And so in this case, we can kind of avoid the blowout by going first half only. And another reason that I like the first half only here for Valanciunas is his first half only points, rebounds, and assists line actually has a higher hit rate or higher success rate of going over than his full game. It's slight, but it is still a higher hitting percentage prop. So let's take a look at that. I've got outlier.bet pulled up here. If you guys want a 7-day all-access free pass to Outlier, you go down to the description and click those links. If you want to take this for a test drive yourself, feel free to do so. But 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, what we've done here with Outliers, we've used some of their nice little filters here. We've included just the games where Alex Sarr has played, Bilal Coulibaly has played, Jordan Poole has played. So some of the key players for Washington, we've removed the games in which guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Marvin Bagley. Now, Brogdon's a game time decision, so we can uncheck him if you want. And when we uncheck him, you're pretty much left with about 11 games that kind of fit that criteria based on the filters. And in those 11 games, he has gone over 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists in 9 out of 11 games. So an 82% hit rate for Jonas Valanciunas. Now, the matchup today against Minnesota, I would say is kind of a medium, average matchup. Not a great matchup, but not a real detrimental, tough matchup either. They rank 15th in points allowed to centers, 9th in rebounds allowed, and 12th in assists allowed. Since he's coming off the bench is Valanciunas, he'll probably be seeing a lot of Naz Reid on the other side for Minnesota. So you can imagine that Naz Reid, not the greatest defender, more of an offender when it comes to his player archetype. I could see Valanciunas dominating. Valanciunas is pretty strong when it comes to like PRA per minute. He puts up a lot of stats in a very short amount of time. Now, in terms of minutes, he's averaging about 10 minutes for the first half this season, especially when you look at the games where some of those guys have been in and or out. So if he gets about 10 minutes tonight, there's a really good chance that he is going to fill it up with points, rebounds, and assists. So very good hit rates here. And historically speaking, head-to-head against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's dominated as well. Now, a lot of these games came from his previous team. And these are not games from this season, but just worth mentioning that he does play well against the Minnesota Timberwolves, posting 11, 20, 16, and 11 points, rebounds, and assists in previous matchups. That was most likely against Gobert because Valanciunas was once a starter, but again, now is in a backup role with the Washington Wizards. So kind of liking what I'm seeing here for Valanciunas. Now, I don't have any projections for Valanciunas for first half only, but what you can kind of do is go and take a look at some of the other Valanciunas projections, like for his full game, and kind of just slice that number in half and get a general idea of what he could potentially land on. So this projection is over on RotoWire. They've got him at 20.11 points, rebounds, and assists. So if we slice that number in half, he's going to be at about 10.1, about 10 PRA or so, which is actually exactly what we need for him to go over the 9.5 numbers. So pretty decent projection over on RotoWire. We could take a look at another projection over on Fantasy Labs. Go to the PRA category, of course. 20.8 is his full game projection over on Fantasy Labs. Again, kind of slice that number in half and you're left with about 10.4 PRA, which would put him over his PRA line of 9.5. And then last but not least, we'll go take a look at shot qualities projections for Valanciunas, and they've got him at about 21.5 PRA, which puts him well over that number of 9.5 when you slice this number in half, making it about 10.5 or so, 10.75 PRA when you cut this 21.5 in half. So yeah, things are looking pretty good here for Valanciunas, so he'd be my first pick. Going for the second pick here, we're looking at Fred VanVleet. We're going back to full game for this one. Fred VanVleet taking on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. And the one that kind of caught my eye was his 6.5 assists. And I'm looking to actually take the under on Fred VanVleet at 6.5 assists. Going up against Memphis this season has not yielded very good results when it comes to Fred VanVleet and collecting large assist tallies. In fact, he's went under in 2 out of 2 games against the Memphis Grizzlies at 6.5 assists, and it hasn't even been close. He's went well under. And now the Memphis Grizzlies are pretty much at full strength. They expect all their starters to be playing tonight. I'm talking about guys like Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. So most of the key guys for Memphis are expected to take the floor tonight against the Houston Rockets, which should make Fred VanVleet and the rest of the Houston Rockets' lives a lot more difficult when it comes to racking up assists and getting buckets. So let's take a look at Fred VanVleet over on outlier.bet. You can see that overall for the season, Fred VanVleet, in terms of going under 6.5 assists, has a 60% hit rate, meaning for about every 10 times he steps out on the floor, he goes under in about 6 out of those 10 games. So pretty darn good hit rate. 60% or above is kind of what I look for when I look for decent hit rates on a player prop. Now, just like we did with Valanciunas, you could start playing around with some of these filters on outlier.bet, and you could start taking players out of games, in games. So if you wanted to go and look at just the games where Jabari Smith Jr. has been out, like he's going to be out tonight, well, then you're left with these 4 games. Now, Fred VanVleet has went well under in most of these games, 3 out of 4 times without Jabari Smith Jr. in the lineup. He has gone under 6.5 assists. Now, he did have a whopping 12 assists here versus the Washington Wizards, but let's be honest. The Wizards aren't very good defensively. They're not a very good team overall. The teams that are pretty good, guys like Boston, LA, Memphis, well, VanVleet has stayed under 6.5 assists against better competition. And, one of these games happens to be the Memphis Grizzlies, where he had just 4 assists back on January the 9th. So let's look at some more information here on Fred VanVleet. As I mentioned, this season, they've played twice now against Memphis, and in those 2 games, he's had just 3 assists and 4 assists against the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is probably the best version of the Memphis Grizzlies that he's going to face, so I can imagine the situation not improving all that much for Fred VanVleet. Now, taking a look at the Memphis Grizzlies and how they do in terms of assists allowed to the point guard position, we go over here to this little module on the right-hand side. You can see that the assists allowed for point guards, they rank 3rd. They are the 3rd stingiest third most difficult team to get assists against if you are a point guard. So the matchup is looking like a good one for the under on Fred VanVleet. So just a little bit of information. I know you guys are typically here to gather information and make your own decisions. So hopefully you find that pretty insightful. Now let's take a look at some of the sportsbook data on Fred VanVleet. And for that, we're going to go over to one of my other favorite tools, which is the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. Now, when we head over to the DGF Optimizer, what this is going to do is it's going to go scan all the sports books out there, all the DFS player prop pick'em apps like PrizePicks, Underdog, Sleeper, Better, etc. And then it's going to look at the odds, the way that which the money is coming in. Is it coming in on the over or the under? And then it strips out the juice or the vig that these sports books charge you, and it gives you true odds or fair odds, in this case, of a player prop to hit for you. So in this particular instance here, we got Fred VanVleet at 6.5 assists. You got almost a 53% chance, 52.84% to be exact, of him staying under 6.5 assists, because if you take a look at some of these sports books, like the gold standard of all sports books, Pinnacle, he's a minus 139 betting favorite to go under 6.5 there. FanDuel's got him betting favorite to go under. DraftKings betting favorite to go under. Minus 140 odds over on BetMGM. Minus 121 on Caesars. So you could kind of get an idea that across the sportsbook landscape, a lot of doubters here that Fred VanVleet's going to have 7 or more assists. So why go against the grain when you can go with it? When all this money's coming in on these sports books, you should probably use that to help make your decision. So if you're not doing anything when it comes to research, there's one thing that you should be doing at the very minimum, and that's just kind of comparing your PrizePicks player props to the sports books. Because if you're playing anything that is considered a plus money player prop bet on PrizePicks, you're not doing yourself any favors. You should be playing only favorable odd player props. And in this case, this one is a favorable odd player prop. So Fred VanVleet under 6.5 assists. There's a little bit more info for you on that. Let's look at some projections now on VanVleet. And for that, we go with a 3-headed attack with RotoWire, Fantasy Labs, and shot quality. So let's first and foremost check out RotoWire. Now, RotoWire, they're going to have you either lean more or lean less, depending on a number of different factors. DFS pick'em sites, sports books, their proprietary projection models, and they're going to look at hit rates. So in this case, for the lean less options, you see Fred VanVleet here sitting at 6.5 assists is a lean less option based on that criteria. Now, you open up his player prop projection card here. You can see he's projected for about 6.63 assists. That's not a very high projection. In fact, you probably want to shave off about 10 to 20% off of this projection. And when you do so, that would put him closer to 6 assists than it would 7 assists. And in this case, that is what we want to see, because we are looking to lean under here on Fred VanVleet. So not a huge projection. If this was like 7.5 assists, I'd be more worried, but at 6.6, I think it makes it a worthwhile, viable option. So let's go over here to Fantasy Labs and check out the projection for Fred VanVleet over there. And when we punch in his name, 5.8 projected assists. We can round that up to 6 if we're feeling generous. But even when we do that, that puts him far away from 7. He would need 7 or more to sink our battleship, and hopefully he doesn't do that tonight. Let's get you one more projection. This one's going to be over on Shot Qualities, Roto Grinders projections. 5.48 assists puts him well under, once again 6.5. So I could see this getting bumped down to 6 at some point. But yeah, the under is the way that I would lean on Fred VanVleet at the 6.5 marker based on all the information that I just went over. So let's take a look at one more pick. We'll call this one a wild card play. Now, the reason I say it's a wild card play is you got 2 games that are supposed to be happening tonight over in LA, but of course, with all of the wildfires and stuff happening in the Los Angeles area, I'm not sure if these games are actually going to play or not. So you got Miami at LA Clippers, and then you got San Antonio at LA Lakers. So keep an eye on these 2 games. But the guy that I'm looking at here is Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the play that kind of stuck out to me was Wemby for more than 39 points, rebounds, and assists. As of right now, he's on the PrizePicks board, so I'm guessing that the sports books and or PrizePicks kind of project or expect him to play tonight, that game will actually play. But if it gets canceled, well, then your entry will more than likely include Victor Wembanyama as a DNP, did not play. So in this case, I'm looking at Wemby for more than 39 points, rebounds, and assists taken on the Lakers. Now, taking a look at his game logs here at 39 PRA, he's done a really good job this season. 56% hit rate, but he's really picked things up over the last like 20 to 25 games or so. So when we take a look at the last 20 games, you can see that his hit rates jump all the way up to 65%. And it's actually a little bit higher when you include this game where he had exactly 39 points, rebounds, and assists. He's only missed the over at 39 or more PRA in 6 of his last 20 games. So he's 14 out of 20 when it comes to 39 PRA or more. And he's coming off kind of a bad game here against Milwaukee. This was a subpar game for Wemby, 10 points, 10 rebounds against Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. So I expect him to kind of bounce back. He typically, as of late, does bounce back. It's very rare for him to have 2 bad games in a row, and that's kind of a sign that he's developing as a professional. He's no longer that rookie, wet behind the ears guy. He's kind of a guy who's more consistent this season, and you're definitely seeing more consistency over the last 20 games from Victor Wembanyama. So how has he done against the Los Angeles Lakers in previous matchups? It's been a little bit of a mixed bag. If you take a look at this season alone, 47 PRA in one game, monster game for him there, 32 PRA in his last meeting against the Los Angeles Lakers. So I could expect that he looks to A, bounce back from that Milwaukee game, and B, looks to bounce back from kind of a decent, somewhat subpar game where he had just 20 and 10, no assists in that game against the Lakers. So that was back on November the 27th. He's playing a lot better ball now than he was then. But overall, over the last 2 seasons, he's gone over 39 points, rebounds, and assists in 3 out of 5 games against Anthony Davis and this Los Angeles Lakers team. So Wemby looking pretty darn good. Now, when we go and take a look at some of the sportsbook data on Victor Wembanyama, we'll go and do that now. We'll see that most of the odds or player props are favoring the over here. Most of the money's coming in on the over on Wemby. Over on 27.5 points and assists. Over on 39 points, rebounds, and assists. You're seeing some books have him at 38.5. Some have him at 39.5. So PrizePicks has kind of split the difference there by posting him at exactly 39. But at 38.5 over on Pinnacle, he's a minus 145 betting favorite to go over 38.5, which means 39 seems like a pretty safe landing spot for Victor Wembanyama. But you know that this guy is an absolute freak, and he's got upside for 40 or more PRA on any given night against any given opponent. But yeah, the points look like a good way to go. The rebounds and assists, the rebounds, everything. Victor Wembanyama looks like an over tonight. There's a lot of faith, a lot of support from sports bettors across the nation for Victor Wembanyama to have a good night tonight against the Lakers. So what are the projections looking like? Let's go take a look at that now. We're going to go over here to RotoWire. RotoWire's got Wembanyama. Most of his projections are leaning over or more in this case. The only ones that are leaning less are going to be the points and rebounds. But we're looking at the points, rebounds, and assists. Now, when we crack open this card here for Victor Wembanyama, you got to go down just a little bit and see the projection for 38. Now, 38 is obviously less than 39, and it's definitely less than 40. We're hoping for 40, not just 39, but 40 out of Wemby. So this projection is less than desirable or favorable. But I will say this. There's a reason why I use multiple NBA player prop projection models, because not every projection model weights the different statistical categories the same. So in this case, we're going to slide over here to Fantasy Labs and show you the projection for Wembanyama over there. And when we look at the projection for Wemby on Fantasy Labs, 42.3 projected points, rebounds, and assists, which is a massive projection versus where he's currently sitting at on PrizePicks at just 39. So these are the types of differentials that we need to take advantage of. When there's that big of an edge, these are betting situations that you can feel more comfortable in taking. So Wemby at 42.3 projected PRA. When we go over here to shot quality and look at Wembanyama there, well, he's sitting at 43 points, rebounds, and assists according to the Shot Quality Advanced Analytics. So we like massive projections like that where there's a differential of 3 points, rebounds, and assists. And so in this case, I would be leaning more on Victor Wembanyama, but that's if and only if that game actually plays. So you might want to wait till a little bit later on in the day to get some confirmation that the Lakers game is actually going to take place. But what do you guys think? I'm leaving it up to you. Leave your comments down in the comment section below. Are you liking any of these picks more than the others? Is there any picks that you're really favoring that I didn't get a chance to talk about? Leave them down in the comment section below. Somebody might see your favorite pick and tail and win some money. And that's what this is all about. Sharing is caring. Let's try to help each other win more together. And for those of you in Dub Club, we will see you in the Discord. 7-day free trial to Dub Club. Get more picks, plays, and parlays from yours truly down in Dub Club. Hit the comment section below to find that Dub Club link. Good luck on all your picks, plays, parlays. Catch you in the next video real soon. Peace.